Hi, my name is Dr. Jason Lee, practicing in clinical immunology and allergy in Toronto, Ontario. Today we're going to be talking about, quote, natural products. There is this myth out there that anything that's labeled as being natural is inherently safe, better, or superior for you. Likewise, there's a fallacy out there that anything that is labeled with its chemical name or that is synthetic is unsafe or bad for you. Let's take an evidence-based approach to understanding this issue. If I were to tell you that there's a chemical called dihydrogen monoxide, and that if you ingest this in large quantities or get this into your lungs that it could potentially kill you, you would learn to avoid this. Well, if you did that, it wouldn't be very good, because dihydrogen monoxide is actually water, H2O. It is essential for all life on Earth, with a few exceptions. Now, marketers have learned to exploit the inherent lack of understanding about chemicals and chemistry to benefit their commercial interests. They have learned that putting the word natural on a product for food, or anything for that matter, increases their sale and revenues. If we take other examples such as lead, arsenic, or uranium, these are all naturally occurring elements. They can act as a poison when you ingest them. No one in their right mind would ingest arsenic, lead, or uranium, but these are technically natural because they occur naturally in nature. If you take any food, you can actually deconstruct the components of that food as various chemicals. These chemicals include things like sugars, proteins, and fats. In no way are some chemicals harmful to you because everything in life is essentially broken down and can be deconstructed into its basic chemical blocks. Now let's take the other example of cosmetics. I see this in my practice all the time. Patients use expensive cosmetic products and automatically assume that it is safe because, one, it was expensive, and two, it had this label on it saying that it is all natural. I'm going to take an extreme case to illustrate this. There is a leaf out there called poison ivy, and it contains the chemical urushiol. Now, most people know about poison ivy not being good for you. If you were to rub this on your skin, many patients would experience something called a contact dermatitis reaction. It is a rash that is very painful and itchy. Many cosmetic products are from naturally derived sources, but does this mean that it's actually safe? Well, nowadays, there's not much animal testing done. This is great for the animal, and I'm all for animal rights. However, because there is less testing of cosmetics done, it is now becoming increasingly more difficult to figure out which products cause reactions such as contact dermatitis. If something hasn't been fully tested or vetted, it is impossible to know whether or not it is truly safe just because the ingredients are, quote, natural. There are many synthetic components to cosmetics that almost never cause reactions. This includes things like petrolatum, or you may know of it as petroleum jelly. This is very good for helping to moisturize your skin, and it acts as a vehicle for a lot of prescription medicated ointments. Is it bad for you? Well, if used correctly and appropriately, the vast majority of patients will not have problems. Now let's take the example of medicine. Acetylsalicylic acid, which is aspirin, was originally found in willow bark. Many things have chemicals like aspirin in them. This includes something as common as an apple. Aspirin is life-saving for heart attacks, strokes, and a host of other conditions. There is concrete evidence that it works. However, if you use it too much, it can also act as a poison. This is a good segue to introduce you to the concept of the therapeutic index. Any medication that we use in medicine can have beneficial effects and poisonous effects. Now, in the setting of an overdose, most drugs act as a poison, meaning that it is harmful to you. When used appropriately in the narrow dose range that it is helpful to you, it has beneficial effects. The thing that I also hear a lot from my patients is that this medication that I got off the shelf is natural, and as such, it cannot cause side effects. Some products actually even go out of their way to label this and highlight the fact that it is all natural. Again, this is from a purely marketing point of view. If the company producing the product has not done rigorous trials to find out what the side effects are, there is no way they can claim that something is side effect free. However, they will try to make the case that because it is naturally derived, it is inherently safer. Now, I'd like to state for the record that there is no such thing as a medical intervention that carries zero side effects. Anyone claiming this knows that this is a complete fallacy. When clinical trials are done, there is often a placebo arm enrolled. These patients are not getting the actual intervention. In spite of this, patients in the placebo arm will note side effects. Every single medical intervention carries with it its own intrinsic risks and benefits. It is up to you to speak to your physician to determine if that treatment is right for your particular situation. Now, I'd like to wrap up by talking about the evidence pyramid. When a healthcare professional recommends an intervention to you, we have to be fairly certain that it's in good faith, meaning, is it going to help you? At the top of this evidence pyramid are systematic reviews and meta-analysis. This essentially pools the data from very well-designed, scientifically rigorous trials and determines the net effect of that intervention. This is as close to truth as we can get. Sometimes this data is not available, so we look at other rungs of the evidence pyramid. Near the bottom of the rung of the evidence pyramid are ideas and testimonials and anecdotal evidence. This means my neighbor improved from taking this pill every day for his condition. Maybe it'll work for me. Unfortunately, in medicine and when it comes to matters of your health, this evidence is not good enough. It is human nature to trust the personal touch and recommendations of anecdotal evidence. Physicians who are evidence-based cannot base the anecdotal evidence as proof that something works. Marketers have, however, learned to capitalize on this human intrinsic nature. To conclude, something that is, quote, natural is entirely arbitrary. Everything in life can be broken down into chemical names. That is all, and I hope you've learned something.